Hi, welcome to Whittle Tweaks. I'm Carrie Whittle, and this channel is about small changes you can make to the way you use a computer that will save you time. Today we're going to learn some more keyboard shortcuts. I realize this is the third episode I'm doing on how using the keyboard rather than the mouse saves time, but honestly, when you get in that habit, it saves so much time. In the next episode, I'll move to a different topic, but today I'm going to show you several more keyboard shortcuts that I use frequently. In my first episode, I discussed how to cut, copy, and paste text with the keyboard. Control X for cut, Control C for copy, and Control P for paste. If you're using a Mac, though, use the Command key instead of the Control key for these shortcuts and all of the shortcuts that I'm discussing today. Not only are there keyboard shortcuts for cutting, copying, and pasting text, but you can also make text bold, italic, and or underlined with the keyboard. These three are pretty easy to remember. Control B for bold, Control I for italic, and Control U for underline. Like the cut, copy, and paste shortcuts, these work almost anywhere you can edit text. Let's try it out. To practice those three, let's do number one here in this Word document. And I will make this Word document available. I'll put a link to it in the description of the video so that you can download it and practice these later. All right, it says using just the keyboard, make the first sentence below bold, the second sentence italic, and the third sentence underlined. So I'm just going to arrow down to the first sentence and hit home. And then I'm going to hit the shift key and the down arrow to select that entire line. And we want to make it bold, so we just learned that that's Control B. So use Control B to make that bold. Then I'm going to kind of hit the right arrow to get the cursor to deselect the text. And then the next one, italic. So again, shift, down arrow. And then this time, Control I for italic. I did down arrow. I should have done right. It would have saved me one little keystroke, but that's all right. And then last one, shift. This time if I go down, I'm getting part of that next line, which I don't want, so I can hit the home key. And now I've just got what I want selected. To underline it, Control U. All right, so I've done number one there, and we'll come back to this document in just a minute. You can also find text and replace text with just the keyboard. Using Control F for finding text is practically universal across applications, websites, etc. In Microsoft products, you can use Control H to find and replace text. Other applications may have a different keyboard shortcut for find and replace. But let's see what happens when we use Control H in Word. All right, number two here says, use a keyboard shortcut to pull up the find and replace dialog. Replace all occurrences of the phrase keyboard shortcut with the phrase handy dandy shortcut. Try to do it without touching the mouse. All right, so we want to do Control H to pull up that find and replace dialog. What do we want to find? Keyboard shortcut, and replace it with handy dandy shortcut. All right, and then we want to replace all occurrences. And do you see how the A has an underline in it on that replace all button? That's a little key that tells us that if I use the Alt key and the letter A on the keyboard, that will do this action. So instead of using the mouse to push this, I'm going to move my mouse over here out of the way. I'm going to do Alt A. All right, it says it made 6 replacements. I can just hit Enter to get that dialog out of there, and then Escape to make that dialog go away. All right, number three, I'm going to leave for you to practice on your own later, and we will come back to number four in just a sec. One of the shortcuts I use all the time is the one for saving a file, Control S. You can also create a new file or window or whatever using Control N. So like if you're in a Word document and you use Control N, it'll create a new Word document. If you use Control N in Outlook, a new email will pop up. If you're using it in a browser, you'll get a new window, etc. And if you type Control P in most applications, it will bring up the print dialog. And all three of these shortcuts are fairly universal. So let's go back to the Word document and try these out. All right, number 4 here says, quick, save the document with a handy dandy shortcut. So we're going to do Control S to save the document. And then number 5, pull up the print dialog without using the mouse. So Control P, and that pulls up the print dialog. I don't want it right now, so I'm going to hit Escape to get out of that. All right, we'll come back to number 6 in just a minute here. I teach math and physics to college students, so I use a pencil and eraser a lot, and I often wish erasing were as fast and easy as the undo shortcut on a computer, Control Z. This is another one I use really frequently, and I also appreciate that there are no little eraser bits left behind when I use it. Control Z is pretty universal as the undo shortcut. Sometimes you want to undo the undo that you just did, and that's where the redo shortcut comes in handy. In Microsoft apps, it's Control Y, but other apps may have a different shortcut for redos, like some have Control Shift C. All right, we are on number 6. Type your name here. I'm going to use the End key and then type in my name. And then number 7 says use a shortcut to undo typing your name. So Control Z to undo. And now redo it with another shortcut, Control Y redoes it. Right, and then we will come back to number 8 in just a moment. All right, I don't use these last 2 as frequently as some of the others, but they can come in handy. Use Control A to select all, and in Microsoft products, use Control K to insert a hyperlink. Other applications may have a different shortcut for hyperlinks. Let's switch to the Word document one last time and try these guys out. All right, number 8, without using the mouse, replace the following URL text with a hyperlink to that address, but with the text WittleTweaks in place of the URL. And then it has the web address there for us. All right, so we want a hyperlink, and we know we're going to need to use this text right here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight it and copy it. And then I'm going to hit Control K because I want to put a hyperlink there. And it turns out I didn't need to copy it because it knew to automatically pull that highlighted text in for the address, but it also puts it in the text to display. And I want to, I'm hitting Shift Tab. I was hoping that would get me to the text display faster, but it turns out Tab is faster to get there. Okay, so I got there, and I'm going to change that then to WittleTweaks. And I can ignore the look in because we want to use a web page, and it knows that because of the address. So it's not using this part in the middle here since this is a web address. All right, so then I'm going to click Enter to tell it OK, and there we go. And if you hover over it, it's not showing up right now, but if you try this on your own, a little pop-up that isn't coming through my video display program comes up that says that it is a link, right? It tells you that you can follow the link. All right, and then number 9, use a shortcut to select all the text in the document and change the font to a new font of your choosing. So I'm going to use Control A to select all the text, and then I can go up here to the font dialog, which I realize you can't see on your screen right now, and that's okay, but I'm just going to change it, let's say, to Bodoni MT. I don't know, whatever you feel like. That was just a handy one for me. And then it says to save the document, again, here in number 10, so Control S to save. All right, and that's it for practicing with the Word document. So let's move back to me. Thanks for watching this episode of WittleTweaks. There are a lot of other keyboard shortcuts out there, and maybe I'll cover some more another time. Which are your favorite shortcuts? Are there any that you use frequently that I didn't include? Let me know in the comments. As always, I hope you learned something in this episode that will save you time. Keep practicing, and you'll get faster, one tweak at a time.